ready to explore the Hebrew roots of your Christian faith? Then grab your Bible and let's get started. Shabbat Shalom and welcome back. Do want to take this morning the time out to this has been a very challenging week, I think, for me. There's been a lot that's been going on around the world, for quite a while. But I just personally, in the past week, 7 days exactly, there's been a time of mourning. There's family members, there's friends I've lost. And at this moment, I can pray for the strength of Yehovah for all of those who are in mourning on today, because mourning is always the most difficult thing to get past. That's a hard thing. Well, I say for me, that's a very difficult thing to handle and to deal with. And when there's more than one um, passing of someone in the week, that can be a load. I can't imagine for those who at war right now and losing their loved ones and all that. So my heart goes out to all of those who are in the midst of mourning. It's just that's a difficult thing to deal with, no matter who you are. That can be a very difficult thing. So my heart goes out to all my loved ones and my friends that's experiencing that for the past week. So as we are getting towards the closing of the book of Judges, I hope that each and every last one of you have been focusing on learning and gleaning from this writing. This is the very reason why we have the Bible in our hands. Because remember, the Bible was not always in our hands. It was mainly at the church where the priests had them. But we have them in our hands. So it is not in our hands just to read about what happened in the past. It is for our learning. So we learning from others who walked in their own ways, and we're learning the correction that Yehovah had put up on them following their own ways. We're learning about these experiences. I still stand by what I said last week. We have too many people expecting the world to look like the kingdom of Elohim. But you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself if you believe that society is going to look like the kingdom of Elohim or going to follow the Elohim's instructions. We, as kingdom builders, we should expect the society to be chaotic and for society to be inconsistent, for society to be um, following things in their own ways. That's what we expect to happen in these times. So, what do? We are to just do the work that we call to do. Put your hands to the plow and do the work and preach the gospel of the kingdom. Because what's going to happen is those that are in the world, that are the called out ones, will come out. They will come out of the world into the knowledge of Him and be able to learn how to live in two kingdoms and be able to balance that out by us preaching the true gospel unto them. Welcome to Reconcile, the kingdom we're working towards growing in the harmony of the whole word of truth. My name is Patrice Robinson, and I greatly appreciate every last one of you who are able to join me on this live premiere and those who will be joining me on the replay. I want to take the time out, as usual, to greet all of those and say thank you for allowing me to be before you. Thank you for sharing the link. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you most definitely for following me. I want to appreciate those because Not everyone understands the the word of Jehovah and how to put it together, but you're giving me the opportunity to teach you. But you're taking a study and you verify what I am sharing with you is correct. So now that you have gone this far, thank you and join this family. Join this family that does not mind searching the scripture, a family that does not mind challenging the religious systems, teachings that we have been under for hundreds of years. A family that's open to becoming a lifetime student of the Bible. And most of all, a family that is ready to explore the Hebrew roots of your Christian faith. Because you have to be ready for this. Because it will most definitely would make you have a mirror in front of your face and challenge, are you following the true word all these years? And that is not an easy mirror to look at. I tell you, when I experienced that, that was not an easy mirror to look at. So now that is not the only way that you can support this ministry. You can support this ministry by making comments below. Send an emoji and let me know that you have joined me live or that you have joined me on the replay. Share the link. Give me a thumbs up. If you are learning something and you're receiving something out of the food that I'm bringing before you, the biblical word, give me a thumbs up. Share the link so other people can learn. Because if you learning something, someone else can learn something. And thumbs up also is important that YouTube will most definitely will understand to send the ministry out to more people. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube podcasts. Thank you for YouTube podcasts, people who most definitely enjoying the Genesis series and Judges series and what Yeshua had taught series. I'm most thankful for you guys who are watching that. Shop in the online digital shop. Most definitely, we have individual Bible companion sheets and workbook. Now, we're ending Judges next week. So the Sabbath day, because we're going to finish chapter 20 today, no matter what, because there's a lot. I don't want to get any further behind. But you have an opportunity to purchase your Ruth workbook. It's totally up to you. There's a sheet that you can purchase, and it's available for you to take notes, to take your studies further and deeper than just what I share with you. So that's available to you. So we will be starting that really soon, and I encourage you to go ahead and purchase that workbook. So that is available to you in the online digital shop. And don't forget to donate in the love drawer. Donating in the love drawer is you partnership with me as growing the ministry because it's important to get the word out. And not only get the word out, but teaching people how to connect the word. I think that's the most difficult thing is learning how to put this puzzle together and understanding the word as it is written, not with any traditions, nothing added in it. It's very difficult for people to stand on the word and not all these commentaries that they're getting their information from. So all the ways that we have spoke about the how to support the ministry, you can find that in the description box after the live premiere, and of course doing the replay. That is most definitely available to you. Don't forget at the end of the teaching, you have opportunity to ask questions about the teaching that's presented to you today. I encourage making comments, asking questions, and sharing the link throughout the teaching. If you don't ask no questions, maybe you found the answer. Maybe the teaching is clear enough for you. I'm hoping that you ask questions that will be available to you so that I can answer them at the end of the teaching. Comments and all those things can come in, and I will share them as they come in. Now, we always begin our teachings with the overview of the previous teaching from last week. We was finished Judges chapter 19. There's my sheet I'm bringing up. So Judges 19, we had to divide in two parts because it's quite a bit. And this is why my notes are quite a bit. I actually had to stop myself. I have no no room for that. And this is one reason why I decided for the workbooks to have additional sheets in there, additional note sheets, because you have people like me that can continue on with more notes and who'll be writing all over the sheet. So Judges chapter 19, part 1 and 2, we're going to just go really quickly over this because Judges chapter 20 has a lot in it that we have to get through today. So, 19, there was a Levite, a servant and a concubine based in this chapter. These are the main characters in this chapter who were from Mount Ephraim, except for the concubine who was from Bethlehem, Judah. So, evidently, there was an issue that happened between the Levite and his concubine. She left him with 4 months to her father's house, and he decided to go get her, woo her back. He won her back after 4 days with hospitality with his father in law. He decided he had to head back home. So it was evening time when they left. And so they had to go to Gibeah. Gibeah is the land of the Benjamites. So he expected when he came into those city gates um, to be greeted and also given hospitality, but no one was there, which we know as we've been studying throughout the Torah that the city gates is where the leaders normally sit. That's where the councils usually sit. But we didn't find that here among the Benjamites. And so there was an old man who was actually from Mount Ephraim that invited the Levite to serve in his concubine into his home to as way of hospitality. He was not even a Benjamite. While they were there in his home, there were some men, sons of Belial, that banged on the door who wanted to have sexual sin with the Levite. So they wanted to have homosexual sex with the Levite. And this is something that we read previously in Genesis chapter 19, which we discussed with the men of Sodom. So these sons of Belial, who was just set on to have the man, but the man, the Levite himself, pushed out his concubine to the men, the sons of Belial. Now, the sons of Belial, what they did to that woman, they raped and abused her, and she ended up dying based off of what they did to her throughout the night. So, from that issue, the Levite was very upset. He cut the concubine in 12 pieces and he sent all the pieces to the chiefs of each of the tribes. So, that was a lot. And that's just narrowed down the basic information for Judges chapter 19. Now, I also wanted to address in my insight because what people find in the Bible when they see men and women doing things and they don't see the Jehovah's correcting it, that means that behavior is okay. But we must definitely understand that Jehovah disagrees with anyone who's mistreating someone, who's controlling someone, who's oppressing someone, who's trying to dominate someone. Jehovah agrees with the partnership when it comes to husbands and wives, protection, providing, covering, and partnership. We have to understand, and you won't understand what he stands for, what he doesn't stand for, unless you went through the talk. This is the whole reason why Tuesday night Torah studies is important to your journey. So I have my questions, all the cross reference, which is quite a bit, in the word study that is presented before you for Judges chapter 19 worksheet is available and for you to look at throughout the teaching on today. It is not sitting here just for you to view. I mean, I guess you can view it if you just want to, but it's sitting here so that you can make comments, that you can ask questions, that you can share your key points from Judges chapter 19, share what you agree or disagree with. We can disagree with each other respectfully. That's a part of life. And you can share your word study, your cross reference, any questions you have for Judges chapter 19 based off the information I presented before you today. Now, Judges chapter 20 has quite a bit in it, and we'll need to get straight to it. So make sure you have your Bible before you, all your writing utensils that you may need. Don't forget, we're focused on 20. Is there any other writings, any other books that we have to connect together to understand the contents that's in Judges chapter 20? on your own. You should be using your Bible tools. You should be using your Strongs, your Bible dictionary, Bible logos, Bible gateway, all those other tools to help you dig deeper into the word of Jehovah. And don't forget prayer. So we did all the things that we did for Judges 19. Now let's hit 20. We're on Judges chapter 20, and we're going to go straight to verse number 1. Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man, from Dan even to Beersheba, with the land of Gilead, and to Yehovah and Mizpah. I want to pause there. We do recognize that this is the congregation, that this is the assembly, this is the called out ones, the children of Israel. And this is why hopefully you would join me on Tuesday for Exodus, because we're going to understand all of this if you do not. So this is the congregation of Yehovah. This is the church that we're talking about when we talk about the children of Israel in the Tanakh. Verse 2, and the chief of all the people, even all the tribes of Israel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of Yehovah, 400,000 footmen that drew sword. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to Mizpah. Then said the children of Israel, tell us, how was this wickedness? So remember, these are the chiefs, they're all the people that gathered together after the Levite has cut 12 pieces of his concubine. Now they're trying to figure out what in the world is going on. The children of Israel are open, and they want to get rid of the wickednesses in the nation of Israel, and they are ready to figure out what they need to do. 400,000 footmen that's available. Now, we did read that the chief of the tribe of Benjamin, heard that there was a meeting, heard about the congregation had met at Mizpah. What we don't read is that the chiefs, the elders, or anyone from the tribe of Benjamin is present in the meeting. Remember, I asked these questions back in chapter 19. Where are the leaders of the Benjamites? Where are the council? Where are the chief? Where are they? But we're going to find out more in chapter 20 where they are. So let's first listen to the Levite. Let's see what he said after the chiefs are asking them, tell us about this wickedness. Verse 4. And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belonged to Benjamin, I and my concubine to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose against me and beset the house round about upon me by night, and thought to have slain me. And the concubine have they forced, that she is dead. And I took my concubine, cut her in pieces, sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel. Remember, that's the congregation. For they have committed lewdness, which is wickedness, and folly, disgrace in Israel. Behold, you are all the children of Israel. Give here your vice in your counsel. So now we have the Levite asking about what we should do. Now he's explaining his version. He had left out that he gave the concubine to the men, but he is looking for an answer. The Bible clearly, we know, is against any man or any woman going against the nature in which Jehovah designed by having same-sex relation. So lewdness, people understand that means wickedness, and you will find that in Strong's H2154, Zimba, which is wickedness. Folly, which is disgrace, H5039 in your Strong's, and Nabila. So it's important for you to do the word study so you can grasp the understanding of what's going on. Most people don't know what lewdness is. Most people don't know what folly is. So all of these things that we have to understand. Now, in our time, from what the Levi had did at mutilating his body, it wouldn't be tolerated. It wouldn't. He would have to answer for this. And I do know the Levites, their precision in cutting and stuff because that's something they've been doing for a long time. But however, this human body to do that he wanted to send a graphic image, a message to the chiefs, and he wanted to get their attention. And clearly he did. I was even surprised that he even touched the dead body because we know, according to the Torah, anyone that touches a dead body or come around the dead body is unclean for 7 days. Numbers 19 and 11. Whoever touches any dead body will be unclean for 7 days. Now, don't get confused and believe unclean means sin. No, uncleanness just means uncleanness. And there's a way, there's steps, there's instructions for you to be purified. The Bible gives those instructions. So there are occasions there's more than just a dead body that can make you unclean. So you have to kind of understand those occasions to be unclean and what to do when that happens. So that's a part of the Bible. This is why we follow the Torah. This is why we learn from the Torah on how to recognize those things. Verse 8. And all the people arose as one man, saying, we will not any of us go to his tent, neither will any of us turn into his house. But now this shall be the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up by lot against it, and we will take 10 men of 100 throughout the tribes of Israel, and 100 out of 1,000, and 1,000 out of 10,000, and fetch victual for the people, that we may do when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly. Remember what folly means? All the disgrace that they have wrought in Israel. Now, we have the chiefs coming together, addressing the sin that has overtaken some of the men among the Benjamites. They're dividing the men, automatically saying they're going to war by 10% of each area against the Benjamites. So I must say this: Yehovah has given the people instructions to do this. They must get rid of or destroy the evil that's among the nations. They're following the instructions. Now, I'm not saying that throughout Judges they've been following the instructions, but this time we see them hovering into this particular sin. And we know there was many times that the judges should have been adjusting things, but some didn't, and some did. So we are not to ignore evil because evil will continue to grow and it takes over. Of course, Satan takes over. That's what he does. So the God of this world, which we know is Satan, this is why he was able to offer the kingdoms to Yeshua in the New Testament, the Shah. But Yeshua, what has he done for us? He empowered us as all followers to be able to put the enemy under our feet. But let me share a secret with you. For those who are new to the Hebrew roots, for those of you who are new to the channel, let me share a secret with you. Even those of non-denominational religious systems. Do you know that Yehovah gave the Torah to the people to put the enemy under their foot? Do you understand why the Torah was given? Now, let me give you an example of this. Those of you who know about Balaam, who tried to curse Israel when they went in the wilderness, he was not able to curse them because they were following the Torah. They was found following the Torah, so he couldn't curse them. That's just a drop of what the Torah will offer you. Just continue to follow me on Tuesdays and study with me. You figure out this whole Torah, the law, the instruction thing, and what does all that mean. So Judges chapter 11, Judges chapter 20, verse 11. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, not together as one man. And the tribe of Israel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, what wickedness is this that that is done among you. Now, therefore, deliver us the men, the children of Belial, which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death and put away evil from Israel. But the children of Benjamin would not hearken to the voice of their brethren, the children of Israel. Now, although the men of Israel have picked their men for war, they're now asking about the men that committed this wickedness, that's doing this wickedness. Send them out. That's all we want. We want the men that are committing this wickedness among the congregation, among the children of Israel, in the land of Yehovah. When the Benjamites did not answer, I was actually surprised. I was surprised because they're in the land. At this time, in the land, the Torah, the law, is the constitution that governs all of Israel, all the 12 plots of allotment. So, what the leaders decided to do, the Benjamites, is to compromise the word of Yehovah, compromise the constitution and the law, the Torah, to allow this wickedness to go on. So they was adding to the word by allowing this to happen. They allowed the alternative lifestyle to go on in the land which Jehovah was the king of. As we read in Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13 last week, remember, it says, if a man lies with a man as with the woman, they both committed an abomination. They must surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. We read this last week, that this behavior is sexual sin and the sentence is death. I know this is difficult to hear and for many to believe, to understand. This is the number one reason why um, people try to separate the Old and the New Testament, saying there's a different God for the Old Testament, a different God for the New Testament. That is because they do not want judgment. They want things to feel good and for the people to feel good to join in with the body Messiah. You join in because you love and you feel good and that you know, you can do what you want to do. But we do understand that love also means correction. These men are living in a land that they're fully aware of the instruction, they're fully aware of the Constitution. The word is supposed to judge us and cleanse us. Remember, the washing of the water of the word is the born again experience. Today, you live among a society who does not live by the instructions, nor are we under the constitution of the kingdom and the law of the land. So today, among all the lands, no one's living under the constitution in the land. So you're able to do what you want to do. You can worship who you want to worship. You can do and live however you want to live. Those are the choices you have. You even have the choices in the Tanakh. But when we choose to live according to the instructions and to walk in it, we can't do what's right in our own eyes. When you of the kingdom and you a kingdom builder, you cannot do what's right in your own eyes. You can choose to do what's right in your own eyes, but then you'll find yourself in the same mindset of the Benjamite leaders who was compromising with what is not lined up with the word of Yehovah. And those are the things that we are trying to avoid. We are trying to avoid not walking in our own eyes and doing what we choose to do. Verse 14. But the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities into Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel. And the children of Benjamin were numbered at the time out of the city 20 and 6,000 men, the Jew sword, beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. Among all these people, there were 700 chosen men left handed. Everyone could sling stones at a hairbreadth and not miss. So we have 26,700 men from the tribe of Benjamin. From this tribe, you know, who can, the 700 can sling a stone and not miss. Benjamin made their choice when they did this. They made their choice. They made a choice not to follow the ways of Yehovah in the land. So they defended the way they decided to live, to follow their own ways. So now we have these soldiers who's coming, the left-handed ones who can sling that perfect sling and don't miss, which reminds me of King David. Remember David and Goliath when he was able to take that sling and kill Goliath, and that was amazing to me. First Samuel 17 and 49, you can read about that, but those who are new to the Bible. But we have to decide our journey. We decide our journey if you decide who is going to be on Jehovah's side. You have two choices. He's always given us two choices. All the way back in the garden, you always had two choices: obedience or disobedience. Those two choices still go in the land on today. Don't forget, again, those two choices still stand. Verse 17, and the men of Israel beside Benjamin were numbered 400,000 men that drew sword. All these were men of war. And the children of Israel rose and went up to the house of Elohim and asked counsel of Elohim and said, which of us should go up first to battle against the children of Benjamin? And Yehovah said, Judah should go up first. And the children of Israel rose up in the morning and camped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin. And the men of Israel put themselves in array to fight against them in Gibeah. And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down to the ground of Israelites that day 22,000 men. And the people, the men of Israel, encouraged themselves, set their battle again in array in a place where they put themselves arrayed the first day. So they're using the same strategy after they even lost the first time. And the children of Israel went up and wept before Jehovah until evening and asked counsel of Jehovah, saying, should I go up again to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother? And Jehovah said, go up against him. And the children came near against the children of Benjamin the second day. Remember, the first day and the second day, they're using the same strategy. And Benjamin went forth against them out of Gibeah the second day and destroyed down the ground the children of Israel again, 18,000 men. All these that drew the sword. So here we go again with another civil war with Israel. This is the second civil war that we had in the book of Judges. If you go to Judges chapter 11, those of who missed that, I'll probably leave a link in the description box or at the end screen, but you need to go check out Judges chapter 11. So now the people, remember this, they are seeking and acknowledging Yehovah after they decide to do this battle. And they're asking who go first. And Yehovah said, send Judah. But they lost the battle. And they lost 22,000 the first time. Or the people missing something? Did they miss something? Did they not give up? Nope, they didn't give up. They went before Jehovah again. After using the same strategy, they arrayed themselves in the same manner to fight again. Then they heard, should we go up against Benjamin again? And they heard yes. And then they lost again. This time they lost 18,000 men. So we have a total of 40,000 men who lost their lives. And this is about 10% of the 400,000 men that they had that they started with. Are they missing something? Verse 26. Then all the children of Israel and all the people went up and came into the house of Elohim and wept. They sat there before Yehovah and fasted that day until eve and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before Yehovah. And the children of Israel inquired of Yehovah, for the ark of the covenant of Elohim was there in those days. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it in those days, saying, shall I yet again go out to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother, or shall I cease? And Jehovah said, go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into thy hand. There's a lot that's going on in verses 26 through 28. And if you are not paying attention, you can clearly get a misunderstanding from here. Because some would say Phinehas had to go and pray before the Ark of the Covenant in order for them to win the battle. No, the Bible is just giving you a clue about when this battle is taking place. It's telling you who's in place. So basically, it's saying that Phinehas is now the high priest, because only the high priest is able to stand before the Ark of Covenant, and that happens once a year. You cannot just go to the holies of holies when you want to. You can only go there once a year. Phinehas, as a priest, if you read the book of Numbers and Joshua, he was a man of Yehovah. And he had no problem standing for the instructions of Yehovah. He was instrumental in communicating with the tribal concerns from the east side. That was Reuben and Gad and all those. You just read Joshua chapter 22. He was instrumental in understanding what they were doing, because they thought they was having their own, building their own tabernacle and all that stuff, but that's not what was going on. However, he plays a really good part. So there's the difference in these chapters that the children of Israel did different. Remember, the first two times they went to war against the Benjamites, they did the same thing. They just asked God. They fought. This time, they did some fasting. They did some praying. They offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And probably more likely, while Phoenix is in here, they spoke to the high priest. At that time, the high priest, once we get through the Torah, you understand the high priest had these stones. And these stones, he was able to ask Jehovah questions and get answers. The Bible doesn't tell us exactly how that works, but the high priest was able to do that. So in the beginning of Judges 20, that we started off, we see that chief um, the chief tribal leaders was all assembled and the people was in the, but we didn't read that the high priest or any priest was in the meeting. But here we get more details on what they probably were missing. And so I'm glad that they figured things out, because let's see what happens. Judges 20:29. And Israel set liars and wait around about Gibeah. So liars are other men that set traps, basically. And the children of Israel went up against the children of Benjamin on the third day. This is 3 days. And put themselves array against Gibeah as at other times. And the children of Benjamin went out against the people and were drawn away from the city. They went out against the people and were drawn away from the city. And they began to smite the people and kill as other times in the highways, of which one go up to the house of Elohim, and the other Gibeah in the field. About 30 men of the Israel that they slain. And the children of Benjamin said, they are smitten down before us as the first. But the children of Israel said, let us flee and draw them from the city unto the highways. And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place and put themselves in array at Baal Tamar. So this is, I could say a lot about that name, but we're going to move on. And the liars and weight of the Israel came forth out of their places, even out of the meadows of Gibeah, and there came against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men out of Israel. And the battle was sore, but they knew not, Benjamites, they knew not that the evil was near them. Now, this strategy has changed. The children of Israel use the same strategy that Joshua used back in Joshua chapter 8 with the leading of Yehovah. The Benjamites had no idea what's going to befall them. So they're taking what I would like to say a page out of the book of the wars of Yehovah on how to win this battle. You know, there was actually a book that was called the Book of Wars of Yehovah. You read about that in Numbers chapter 21. So the people are now trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Let's go ahead. Verse 35. And Yehovah smote Benjamin before Israel. And the children of Israel destroyed all the Benjamites that day, 25,000 men and 100 men. All these drew the sword. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, for the men of Israel gave place to the Benjamites because they trusted unto the liars and weight which they had set beside Gibeah. So how did they do this? Verse 37. And the liars in wait hasted and rushed upon Gibeah. And the liars in wait drew themselves along and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and liars in wait. They should make a great flame of smoke to rise up out of the city. So why, let me pause here, why the men of Israel is running from the Benjamites, taking them out of the city along the highway. The liars, the other men, are in Gibeah, destroying everything. Make sure you got it. Verse 39. And when the men of Israel retired in the battle, so they stopped, Benjamin began to smite and kill the men of Israel, about 30 persons. So it's only 30 people they have killed. For they said, surely they are smiting down before us as in the first battle. So we get in just more details. But when the flame began to rise up out of the city with a pillar of smoke, the Benjamites looked behind them, and behold, the flame of the city ascended up on heaven. This was a great strategy. Again, this is the same battle strategy that Joshua used against Ai in Joshua chapter 11. Yehovah led this. The liars took the city, and the men that was chasing, the Benjamites that was chasing the other Israels, have drawn the Benjamites out of the city along the roads highway. The Benjamites did kill about 30 of the men of Israel, but they thought they was going to win this battles like they did before, like they did the other two times, but they didn't. The men of Israel ended up killing 25,100 of the Benjamites, and this so far. Now, I don't want you to miss that Yehovah was there. He smote the Benjamites. Remember, Yehovah is the king, and he goes into the battle with his people. If you continue to follow through again the Torah, you will see the battles that they were having and how he was in the midst of them as long as they were following his instructions. That's important to understand. Verse 41. And when the men of Israel turned again, the men of Benjamin were amazed, for they saw that evil was upon them. Therefore, they turned their backs before the men of Israel into the way of the wilderness, but the battle overtook them. And then, when they came out of the city, they destroyed in the midst of them. Thus, they enclosed the Benjamites round about and chased them, trotted them down with ease over against Gibeah toward the sun rising. So, this battle went on all the way to the next day. And there fell of Benjamin 18,000 men, all these men of valor. And they turned and fled toward the wilderness and to the rock of Rimmon. And they gleaned from them in the highways 5,000 men. So that's another 5,000 men. They ended up dying and pursued hard after them unto Gendon, and slew 2,000 men of them, so that all which fell the day of Benjamin were 25,000 men that drew the sword, and all these men of valor. We have the Benjamites running into the wilderness because the men of Israel and Yehovah's at the war are winning. So we have another 25,000 men that fell in this war. So it's like 50,100 men in total have died of the Benjamites. All of this, all of this happened because we have people who did not want to be responsible, accountable for their actions. We had a leadership that took the people's side and did not stay on the side of Yehovah. They're in the land that Yehovah given them. He's given them instructions. He given them a constitution. He given them a law to follow. All this could have been avoided. All of this could have been avoided. In what way could it have been avoided? The leaders could have, they had plenty of opportunities. So let's talk about the opportunities that the leaders had. So you in the land of Gibeah, this is the tribe of Benjamin. So you recognize this is going on in your community. They had time to address it then. They did not. So it grew. It started brewing, and more people began to follow this way, this alternative lifestyle. They didn't follow the instructions of Yehovah. And then you have this Levite come, and this whole situation happens, right? He ended up meeting with the chiefs. Then the chiefs come to the Benjamites. Here's the second time they could have corrected things. The chiefs came and asked them to send out the men that engaged into this wickedness. They had a chance to respond to the instructions of Yehovah at that time. They did not. So now we have over 50,000 Benjamites, over 40,000 men of Israel who died because people are following their own heart. Listen, people, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. And only Jehovah knows it. This is why we ask him to search our heart, to cleanse us. Because we can deceive ourselves, we can deceive other people, but we cannot and will not be able to deceive Jehovah. So we have to get this thing right. Following our hearts, you know, that can be a slippery slope right into deceit. Right into deceit. Verse 47. But 600 men turned and fled into the wilderness unto the rock of Rimmon, and abode in the rock of Rimmon 4 months. The men of Israel turned again upon the children of Benjamin, and smote them in the edge of the sword, as well as the men of every city, as the beasts, and all that came to hand. Also they set fire all the cities that they came to. Or we paying attention to the cost that is paid? Or we paying attention to what's going on here in Judges chapter 20? That all this could have been avoided. So now the Benjamites are down to 600 men. And this is probably why It was known to be the smallest tribe because of this situation. They are now out in wilderness, and their city has been utterly destroyed. Everything in the city, the animals and all, have been destroyed. As believers, as kingdom builders, we have to address sin in the congregation, in the assembly, among the called out ones. Because if we don't, we'll find the wrath of God. This is the reason why the Torah, the prophets, the writings, all that is written for us for our learning. How do we avoid the wrath? How do we please Yehovah? All of it is written for us. I know this probably wasn't easy for many to hear, but I'd rather tell you the truth and I'd rather give it to you straight as the word is giving it to us. I'm hoping that you're learning something, that you're filling out your sheet, that you're sharing your questions, you're sharing your comments, you're asking questions, you're doing all this, and don't go out unanswered things. Because as we figure out, as we continue on, leaning on our own understanding is not the way that we should be going. We have to lean on the word of Yehovah that washes us, that cleans us, that renews our mind, help us to walk and follow his son. This is what this is for. So, like I said, next week, next Sabbath day, we will be in our last chapter of the book of Judges. I truly have been enjoying this study. I've been enjoying the research, and I will continue to enjoy it. We have to fall in love with the word of Yehovah. I know some of us have this short attention span. But you got to pray on that and work on that, because this word, you got to dig into it to understand it so that you be able to follow the Son. Don't forget to join me on Tuesday at 10 o'clock a.m. as we are going through the book of Genesis, which we're almost done with that. I think we're on Genesis chapter 49 on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So don't forget to join me. I advise you to go ahead and read and do your study so you can join in and ask questions and put your input in there, your thoughts. This is what we do. We communicate and we learn from one another. It is not for me just to give out to you guys. We learn from each other. You might find something that I did not find. This is the purpose. Now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below before you leave. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and all those other social medias. I most definitely will appreciate that. May Jehovah bless you and keep you. May Jehovah shine his face on you and give you his favor. May Jehovah shine his face towards you and give you his peace. All in the mighty name of Yeshua. Amen. I truly am thankful for every last one of you, and I will keep you in my prayers. Amen.